A TV host walks into a convenience store. This business and companies buying stuff sold here will eventually know what I bought and what I didn't buy. They don't know what I looked at and didn't buy, what I never saw, how I traveled through the store. In other words, the same info online sellers get when I'm shopping on my computer instead of here. A hustler had an idea. Create motion, light, and contact sensors that anonymously capture that missing information. Create platforms to analyze the data.
Think of the 4 Ps, product, place, price, promotion. We really solve for the place aspect of that.
Retail Aware tests tools in this West Omaha convenience store. A good place for Keith Fix and team to show us how it works.
All right, so we have a monitor here. What's that telling us?
So that Sense device is actually looking at motion. So we're characterizing your hand movement to say you picked up whatever was underneath there. So we can see how many folks walked by, but then we can also see how many people picked up product. So it gives you your conversion rate, and it's the most likely indicator to a sale.
So in this case, if I were to take this out, look at it, and put it back, you have that data as well?
You got it. We see engagement.
There are sensors showing when products are out of stock, helpful for stores that don't have a lot of employees, and sensors tracking customer movement.
We want to understand what is going on in this space.
All right, tell me what you're seeing.
So what you're looking at is compiled data. Combined with sales data, we can actually see the full, what we call the path to purchase, or the full customer journey. Brands specifically spend $100 billion a year, just in North America, on all of the stuff that you see inside the store. So that includes these merchandising displays, these light fixtures, messaging, so those posters that you see that go into the store, or special product displays. We're wrapping data around those decisions.
If you find out that nobody is even walking in a certain part of the store, you either need to come up with a good idea of how to get them there, or reinvent that space into a better purpose. So I think that kind of data would go a long way and actually be worth paying for.
The journey Keith Fix took to creating Retail Aware is just as windy as my path through this store.
Tell me about yourself. How's that for wide and open-ended?
Oh man, okay, so let's start. I've always been a little bit of a hustler. I'd always been to the point where, I got suspended for selling erasers and magazines on the school bus. Just stuff like that. I used to help with the computer lab I think I was in 1st grade. No one asked, I just kind of started doing it. I was Airbnb before Airbnb. I would bill my aunts and uncles for staying at our house. And I always knew I was gonna do something in business, but it really wasn't until we had a family friend that needed help with the website. It's like, yeah, you like computers, you can do a website? Sure. I had no idea how to do a website. Basically, I made my mom drive me down to the library, and I got every book on HTML, CSS, Dreamweaver.
What drives a 10-year-old to just say, you know what, I'm gonna learn how to code, I can make some money doing this?
Unfortunately, when my parents split, my world was flipped upside down. We went from having a very decent middle-class life to my mom and I being in a homeless shelter. It came out of, I needed to do it. I enrolled in classes, and I think I got involved in the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization. We started a daily deal site. I started, a handful of ventures, all while I was full-time in college.
One was BlabFood, digital displays for doctors' office waiting rooms, born from winning a business plan competition, fed by investment from the Winnebago Tribe's Economic Development Corporation, bought by the economic development arm of Nebraska's Ponca Tribe. Important because Fix is a Ponca Tribe member.
I realized that building these enterprises and entrepreneurship was absolutely key to breaking some of the barriers and breaking some of the systemic challenges that have plagued tribal nations.
Which brings us back to his latest hustle, Retail Aware.
Oh my gosh, the dude has an entrepreneurial mind like no other. I keep seeing photos that go back further and further. They just crop up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is he even 18 in this photo? It's just, yeah, as long as I can even see into his past, it's, yeah, just part of his DNA.
Born in 2018 from all the retail and tech experience Fix gained from the other ventures, now Retail Aware engineers and builds and ships sensors all over the world. Without naming names, Fix says customers include the largest beverage company, a top electronics company, and big box stores. Millions of Americans pass by these sensors each year without knowing it. Yes, more people shop online these days, but Fix says most purchases still happen in physical stores. Only bad retail is dying, and good retail is stores of the future, where data drives decisions, just like online.
Did you have any notion whatsoever that this was going to be as successful as it was?
We've always had this idea of how big we could get, and I don't think it was ever an option not to make things work.
You still a hustler?
There's oh my gosh, there's a Beyonce song about that. Oh, it's funny. I think like you evolve from, as a kid, I think like you evolve from the hustler to the innovator, and I think there's a very fine line between the two.